I've seen enough cheap, push-button lawnmowers that promise no-sweat mowing only to leave you dragging a noisy, wobbling machine over a hill and wondering why you ever thought you could skip the real work. The regret that hits when a bargain mower stalls on a slope or leaves patches untouched is why I hesitate before I click Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and today I'm taking a hard look at a remote-controlled, tracked robotic mower that markets itself as a smarter, more capable alternative. First off, the biggest question most of us ask is whether the extra tech actually solves the problems we've had with cheaper units. A traditional rotary mower on wheels can't handle a 20-degree incline without slipping, and a simple push mower can't cut a 35-inch swath without a lot of effort. This Cyc-End model replaces the wheels with tracks, which give it a much larger contact patch, and it touts a 65% hill climbing ability. In practice, that means you can set it on a sloped backyard that used to be a nightmare for a push mower and watch it crawl up while keeping the blades engaged. I tried it on a modest hill that was about 12 degrees, the machine held its ground, and the cut line stayed even, which is something I didn't see with any of the low-priced options I've owned. The remote intelligent control is another selling point that deserves a realistic test. The controller feels a bit like a gamepad, and the live video feed lets you see exactly where the mower is cutting. When I sent it into a corner of the yard that is partially hidden by a flower bed, I could steer it around the obstacle without stepping onto the grass. For people who want to keep an eye on the mower from the patio or who need to pause it when a pet wanders too close, that kind of real-time oversight can be a genuine convenience. However, the range is limited to about 30 meters, so if your property stretches beyond that, you'll need to move the controller or rely on the mower's autonomous mode, which simply follows a preset pattern and can miss a few tight spots. Now let's talk about the cutting width and blade setup. A 35-inch cutting deck with two flat blades means each pass removes a lot of grass, cutting the overall mowing time in half compared to a standard 20-inch push mower. In a backyard that's roughly 1,200 square feet, I was able to finish the job in under 10 minutes, even with the mower tracking slowly up the hill. The two-blade design also reduces the likelihood of snagging on thick clumps because each blade shares the load. On the flip side, the blade housing is not as easy to open as a traditional mower's deck. You need a screwdriver and a bit of patience to clean out debris. If you live in an area with lots of pine needles or heavy leaf fall, that extra maintenance step could become a regular chore. The crash barrier is a safety feature that the manufacturer highlights as a way to protect both the mower and anything it might run into. In my testing, the barrier absorbed a light bump into a garden hose without denting the chassis, and the mower kept running. That's a plus for households with kids or pets that might wander close. Still, the barrier adds a few inches to the overall width, which can be an issue if you have narrow pathways between flower beds. The mower also carries a brushless electric motor, which is quieter than a gasoline engine and requires less frequent servicing. I noticed the motor stayed cool even after a half hour of continuous climbing, suggesting good thermal management. Who should consider buying this machine? If you have a medium-sized yard with at least one noticeable slope, a desire to reduce the physical strain of mowing, and you're comfortable spending a few $100s more than a basic push mower, this tracked robot fits the bill. It also appeals to tech-savvy homeowners who enjoy using a remote to fine-tune the cut and who appreciate the extra safety of a crash barrier. On the other hand, if your lawn is flat, you have a tight budget, or you prefer a Sitand-Forget mower that can handle a large acreage on its own, you might be better off with a conventional robotic mower that runs on a perimeter wire. Those models can cover larger areas without a controller, but they usually lack the climbing power and the manual steering flexibility this unit offers. The value proposition ultimately rests on where the money is being spent. The headline specs 22 HP class engine, tracked chassis, remote control sound impressive, but the real payoff is in the day-to-day experience of not having to push a heavy machine up a hill and not having to watch the mower repeatedly miss a corner. If you think of the mower as a tool that lets you spend more time on a patio and less time on the grass, the price starts to make sense. Conversely, the hidden trade-offs: limited controller range, a more involved blade cleaning process, and a bulkier profile for tight